Islam Makhachev's next title defense just detonated into the biggest welterweight crisis of 2026, and I'm about to show you exactly why this division is now a ticking bomb with no safe answer.
He doesn't have to cut this much weight. He can fight every 3-4 months. No problem.
So we're going to see him at 170 from now on?
Yes, this is his weight division. He's not going down to 155.
Last question. If you could pick somebody right now tonight to challenge him next, who would you pick?
He said it. He said he want to fight Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman is 15-fight winning streak, 5 title defenses, greatest welterweight of all the time. Beating all these young guys. What does that do for his legacy? It don't do nothing for his legacy.
Rumors explode that Makhachev versus Usman could happen in March, and the second that idea hit the air, all fingers pointed at one puppet master pulling every string, Ali Abdelaziz, representing both fighters and pushing this matchup like his career depended on it.
Kamaru Usman, it's a very tough opponent, and I represent him too. And it's not an easy night for anybody. Kamaru Usman is a real deal.
Keep watching, because when I reveal the real reason this fight terrifies half the division, you'll understand why chaos just became the game plan.
Whoever it ends up being challenging Islam for this belt first, when ideally do you think Islam fights again?
Islam just fight, honestly. Even if he reached out to me, they was asking him to fight. I mean, if that January 28th, he thought about it, he's like, "Go on, Habib said, hey."
Just that again.
Honestly, Amaru's name was in the mix for January 28th. Inga's name was in the mix too. So at the end of the day, the UFC is a business. They're going to make the biggest fight they can make to it. You know what? I like it. You don't like it. This is what it is.
Abdelaziz defends Usman like his life is on the line, reminding everyone that before losing the belt, Usman was mowing people down while others ran from the smoke, a walking nightmare who dragged Chimaev into the deepest waters he's ever seen on barely a week's notice.
First of all, the least deserving of it is Kamaru Usman. Brother, like, I don't know how they're finagling this shit, like trying to push him into the
cahoots,
huh?
Between him and Islam,
yeah,
like mutual friendship,
for
like
sure.
let's get
mutual
you paid.
friendship, same manager. Like, I understand what they're trying to do, but that's bullshit.
Yeah.
I personally, obviously, he beat me. I think Morales is the most deserving out of everybody.
He's
like,
undefeated.
Undefeated, 19-0, just beat me. I was the #1 contender. Beats me. Number 2 would be, I think Prates is right there. I think he would deserve it more. Shavkat doesn't deserve a title shot.
He got to get back in the race.
He's got to get back in the race. Everybody else got to be in the bro, something like that. Everyone's got to be in the race. He's just sitting.
And here's the twist. Abdelaziz uses past UFC matchmaking to prove that Usman deserves a shot even coming off losses. And when he said others got title fights without winning streaks, the arena went silent.
When you hear Dana say that Kamaru is the greatest welterweight of all time, do you roll your eyes and just say, like, that's politics?
Kamaru is not the greatest welterweight of all time. Nobody goes. He's saying that because, you know, okay, I'm the realest. I had the realest route. I had the realest reign. I was a person that dealt with the most stuff behind the scenes and still managed to win that I don't even speak about, right? I fought all the top contenders that were not big trash talkers. Nobody wanted to say a bad word about Damian Maia, Robbie Lawler, or Wonder Boy, right? I fought all the up-and-coming guys. I fought the, you know, even Usman and Kobe and Teal, those are all up-and-coming guys, right? He's not the greatest welterweight of all time. What he is the one that kissed the most ass. He's the one that, hey, oh, let's have Uncle Dana on my podcast. Let me accept every fight. Let me go to Vegas and sit and just loiter in his office every week and just try to stay in his good graces and accept whatever offer. If you do that long enough, you will be one of these guys that end up in the category where now you'll be rewarded because you took last minute notice fights, you fought injured, you didn't complain about money, you didn't ask for more, you didn't ask questions, and you always was trying to be goody two-shoe and brown nosing. So yeah, he's the biggest brown noser in the welterweight division. He is a good fighter though. He's a good fighter. He stayed disciplined, but that's what he is. He's not the greatest. Well, how can you even say that? Once you say he's the greatest and you're trying to say he's better than George, like nobody even listening to you.
Don't blink, because in a moment, I'm going to tell you which fighter behind the scenes is secretly praying this matchup never happens. But Sean Brady steps up and says no way, shutting down the hype train and calling this entire conversation insane, while Usman supporters scream back that nobody has done more for the division than him.
The company's gonna come on, the company's gonna go. There's a lot of action right now going up in the top of that division. It's hard to say, oh yeah, this guy deserves it, because how do you say Morales deserves the title over Prates, who just finished 2 guys in the top 15 back to back? How do you say that me? Let's be honest, I'm the biggest bill on the division. How do you say I'm not deserving? We're all coming off of wins here. If the company wants to say, hey, we want to book the biggest fight right now in that division, we know what the answer is. Pound for pound versus pound for pound.
I think you're the front runner. Rankings at this point, they don't mean shit. Like, it's about who has the name, who's done what, and who can sell.
Tyron Woodley jumps into the argument like a grenade, dropping the nuclear take of the week. Usman isn't the GOAT because GSP still owns the throne with the most defenses. And Woodley says his run was tougher, grittier, and more real than anything Usman ever did.
I feel like either one of them right now could fight for the title. If it's Carlos, happy. If it's Morales, I'm happy. But we also got to add the monster at that weight class, the boogeyman, Shavkat. Shavkat's amazing. That's the only guy actually they could beat Islam. That's the only guy they could beat Islam. And he's naturally bigger, great wrestler, has an endless tank of gas. And he's not bad on the feet. And he does eat some shots to give some shots.
This is where things get nasty. Woodley refuses to rank Usman above GSP and doesn't even put him as the clear hash 2, saying fans are overhyping him and letting recency bias erase legends.
The idea of Islam pulling down and taking on Ilia Topuria, it's not as cool right now, because now we've got that problem solved. We got Sarukian. And now let's focus on today's Islam. Who does he face at 170? Chael wants him to fight Kamaru Usman, but Kamaru Usman's told almost nobody. I'm confident that Ian Gary's going to get a world title fight, but is it next? I don't know. Morales. 19 victories in a row, but that's not a fight that you guys are clamoring to see. How bad does Rakhmonov want to fight Islam? How bad does Islam want to fight Rakhmonov? I can't answer these questions, guys. I'm just asking these questions. At welterweight right now, something's missing.
You're gonna want to stick around because when I reveal who Woodley secretly thinks is the hash 2 of all time, it will shock every Usman supporter to their core.
Digo, ¿quién quiere combatir Ilia Topuria?
Yo, mira, pues tengo a Paddy en la mente. Me gustaría pelear con Paddy si es que no me dejan subir en peso welter para pelear con Islam, porque el combate que realmente me gustaría tener es en contra de Islam en la tercera categoría. Pero bueno, vamos a ver, a lo mejor hago un combate y después en verano hay alguna fecha en la que sí que me dejen subir de categoría y pueda pelear por el tercer cinturón, o se cree un nuevo cinturón llamado el Pound for Pound en un peso pactado en donde nos encontramos los dos y peleamos por ese cinturón de libra por libra. Así que vamos a ver, hay muchísimas opciones como siempre. Vamos a ver lo que depara el futuro.
Meanwhile, Usman ignores the noise and points at a killer rising straight through the welterweight ranks. Carlos Prates, the man who knocked out Leon Edwards, the man nobody else had ever put away, the man collecting highlight finishes like trophies.
I do think that is what's going to happen. It's going to be the same thing as John Jones versus Stipe. They're going to give him the title shot. It's going to be a lifetime achievement award, and then he's going to retire after he loses to Islam. That's exactly what's going to happen. And all those guys are going to have to wait. The active, young, hungry, successful, victorious as of late fighters are going to have to wait. And if we're going to get this main event that no one wants, but we are going to get it, just look at the matchmaking as of late, and then everything will be paused, and then everything will resume afterwards. I can guarantee it.
Usman says Prates belongs in the title conversation, and suddenly everything gets complicated. Because how do you justify Morales over Prates when Prates has finished 2 top 15 guys back to back?
We just got a stat on who Islam Makhachev is fighting next. Yeah, check this out.
Okay.
Carlos Prates plus 1,000. Bilal Muhammad plus 900. Ilia Topuria plus 400. Shavkat plus 350. Ian Gary plus 325. Michael Morales plus 300. Kamaru Usman at the lead plus 220. Hey,
it is good. Listen, I've said my piece. He said his piece. It's up to the company at this point.
Well, I think the only thing that you do is you get ready. The more time that you have, strategically, tactically, if you do take this fight, it's great. You know,
Yeah.
And Usman says it plainly, I stem the biggest draw in the division. I deserve respect. And if the UFC wants the biggest fight possible, it steps pound for pound versus pound for pound.
I am a little disappointed. I thought he'd have a little bit more readiness.
It feels like DDP. It really does.
does.
This is the difference. Islam never really hit the kinds of positions and could camp out in the way that Hamzat did. Jack was fighting Islam for every single inch of space. The positions were not neutral, but they were closer to neutral than what you got with DDP.
Who is the real challenge at 170 for Makhachev?
I don't really think there is one. To do that to Jack the way he did, Bilal couldn't even do a fraction of that. To me, the toughest challenges look like something around the neighborhood of Usman, Rakhmonov, and Gary, and I'd put Topuria at 70 at the very end of that list.
Islam is not cutting to 155 again, nor should he ever. Any talk about the Topuria fight has to be about the 3-division championship thing at
70.
welterweight. The Craig Jones side, we're kind of giving Craig Jones superpowers being in JDM's corner, but his magic seems to have run out.
I told them, Jiu-Jitsu not working. You have to come to Dagestan.
Is the magic of our friend Craig Jones gone?
You can't have it both ways. You can't say Volk performed so well against Islam in their first contest and then say JDM performed poorly and so therefore Craig's stuff doesn't work. The point I'm trying to make is he's fighting Islam Makhachev, the very best guy in the world. Craig could train me all my life. I'm still not fucking beating that guy. Look at how far apart JDM is from Islam. Craig, no trainer in the sport is gonna make up that difference. I recognize from a public perception standpoint that the Craig stock is probably gonna deflate a little bit after this, but the fact that he survived against Islam, honestly, is a big feather in the cap to Craig Jones.
Now the welterweight division is officially a war zone. Shavkat lurking in the shadows, Morales undefeated, Gary taking out Bitsalau, Prates deleting contenders on sight, and Makhachev watching the chaos from the mountaintop. And meanwhile, Chael Sonnen throws gasoline on the fire by pitching a super fight between Makhachev and Ilia Topuria for welterweight, calling Topuria the next 3-division legend if he can make history. But then everything flips. The moment the UFC considers Makhachev versus Usman, the Topuria super fight loses oxygen, and Sonnen suddenly backs away, saying there's no urgency now that both men have new roads in front of them. Stick with me because in a few minutes I'm dropping the one matchmaking possibility that would create the most viral UFC moment since McGregor versus Mayweather. Topuria steps away from the cage for personal reasons, forcing the UFC to crown interim gold between Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett, with the winner unifying belts against Topuria later. Topuria dreams of beating Pimblett, going to welterweight, demanding a pound-for-pound symbolic belt, and eventually colliding with Makhachev in a mega fight so big that the UFC might need a football stadium to hold it. Meanwhile, at welterweight, Paul Felder looks at this chaos and says Dana White is stuck in an impossible puzzle where every contender has a case, yet none has a guarantee. Felder points out the facts. Gary beat Bilal, Morales destroyed Sean Brady, Prates knocked out Leon Edwards, and suddenly the division has 3 unstoppable monsters kicking the door down at the same exact time. And Morales says he'll fight Prates himself if that speeds up his path to gold, proving that hunger matters more than hype or rankings. Felder respects Makhachev's interest in Usman, but doesn't buy that Usman deserves the shot, saying Morales or Gary have earned it in blood, sweat, and war, not name recognition. Then Dominic Cruz jumps in, breaking everything down with surgeon precision, saying Morales fights like Yoel Romero with unpredictable rhythm, but without the wrestling, making him one of the most dangerous puzzles Makhachev has ever faced. Watching Morales erase Sean Brady convinced Cruz that Makhachev would have to answer questions he's never seen before, and Cruz believes Morales is the wild card who destroys every expectation. Now everything is swirling together into pure madness. You have a champion trying to build a legacy, a former champion demanding his spot back, rising killers refusing to wait their turn, legends debating history, analysts screaming their picks, and the UFC trying to avoid a disaster while planning a blockbuster. And here's the truth that nobody is saying out loud. Makhachev doesn't have challengers. He has sharks circling from every direction, all smelling legacy and blood at the same exact time. So who does the UFC pick to face Makhachev in 2026? Usman for spectacle, Morales for unpredictable danger, Gary for championship momentum, or Prates for savage chaos? And remember, Topuria is watching from above, waiting to invade welterweight like a wrecking ball, which means whatever happens next isn't just a title fight, it's the beginning of a historic war. Drop your thoughts below and smash that like button because one thing is certain, this division is about to explode, and nobody, not even the champion, is safe.